Okay, this is Rob, and it's Wednesday, March 16th. I'm telling you basically again what I told you in class, which is the whole process for making these molds. We haven't gotten here yet. All I'm asking for on Monday is for you to bring in a scale model from cardboard of the simplest form that you created of those 50 sketches of solid forms. So nothing about molds, just the form itself, the finished form, but constructed through slices. So I showed how you could make a cube in class. Let me just show how I might make a cylinder, which is another one of these really simple forms. I'm going to do this all in inches, which you should be doing as well, since the material that we're working with is 1/2 inch. So I'll make a cylinder on this surface. I'm going to make this really small just so I don't have to click so much. I'll make it 2 inches in diameter and 2 inches tall. And I'll hit OK. So you can imagine that the model that you'd bring in on Monday would just be a series of these circles stacked on top of each other. Obviously your form is going to be a lot more interesting than this, but that's how I would come in on Monday if it was just a cylinder for me. You'll also come in with some sketches, or maybe also a cardboard or whatever, foam board or whatever you use for this model, whatever makes the most sense for you, sketches or a model of how you plan on making the sort of mold that I'm about to show you how to do. This is the same thing we did in class, just a different shape. So here's my form, and I'll just name it. This is my cylinder, and I'm going to now create a mold for it. So I'm going to use a center diameter circle. I'll start on the bottom, and I made this 2 inches, so I'm just going to make this, I'm going to give it another 2 inches, so it's 4 inches total. And I'm going to press pull this so that it goes up to the height of my model, which is 2 inches, and then I'll add another 1/2 inch. It needs to land either on a whole number or half number, because we're building it from slices and we have 1/2 inch material. I want this to be a new body, and I'll hit OK. So now what I've got is my original cylinder inside of a mold. And if we look at my mold from the side, you'll be able to see that it's only 1/2 inch taller. So there's just one piece of material on top of it. So I'll call this mold. And what I want to do now is subtract one from the other. So I'll use combine, and this is the target body, and that's the target body. And the tool body, the thing that I want to use to cut, is going to be the cylinder. See, it's marked there. I need to make sure it says keep tools, and I'll hit OK. Now if I hide the cylinder, you can see I've got a mold. So I could pour cement into this and be done, but the problem is I'll never get it out. It'll basically become a block of whatever this mold material is, unless it was something like silicone where we could pry it off pretty easily. It'll just become a solid block. So what we need is this technique for creating the mold out of layers, and that's what our project is kind of based on, is that technique. There's a huge amount of variation between projects. This is just showing you how a cylinder might happen. So the next thing to do is keep that cylinder hidden, and I'll just start slicing this into 1/2 inch slices. So the way to do that is to create a construction plane. I'll use offset and make it 1/2 inch down from the top. I showed this in class. The trick to making this go quickly is to highlight that new construction plane and hold down the right mouse button. If I right click, you can see there's a whole clock here, and this blue mark is showing you that if I were to just hold down the right mouse button and swipe left, that's undo. So you can see that's where undo is. It's kind of like a quick way of just using that menu without actually even having to see it. So if I swiped up, I would do repeat delete. I don't want that, but let's try this again. I'll highlight the construction plane, make an offset plane, 1/2 inch down from there. When I do the next one, I'll click on it, swipe up, and that repeats. Here's another 1/2 inch down. I'll hit enter, that's quicker. I'll highlight, swipe up, and do another 1/2 inch down. So that's it. That's all the slices I need. You'll probably need more because my model is pretty small. Is that all of them? Yeah, that's all of them. So now we need to split this up into actual slices. So I'll use the modify split body command, And again, the trick here is to highlight it first. So I'll highlight this construction plane and then do that again, split body. And it's already selected the splitting tool because I had it selected. So I'll hit this as the body and hit OK. I'll do the same thing, swipe up. There's the body that I want to split, hit enter, click the next one, swipe up, hit this body, enter, and the last one, swipe up, click the body and hit enter. So if I hide the construction planes, I'll hide all of these. There it is. And if I start looking at it, let's see which one this is. You can see on the left it's highlighted, it's mold 1. So if I hide that, you can see what I've got is a bunch of donuts. Now this is a step forward, but it's not really the solution because I still wouldn't be able to get it out. If I poured cement in here, I'd never get the rings off. So this is the last detail where we actually want to be able to split each of these layers in half. We don't need to split the top one, so I'll actually hide that for now. I only need to split the others. So the top one will always pull right off. So let's try and split these. Now the way that I'd probably do this is to use offset plane. If I turn on the origin, that's conveniently right in the center of my circle just because of the way I drew it. You can create a construction plane however you want, but I'm going to create one from here. I'll make it an inch over. Kind of weird because this is so small, but let's say I'm going to do it like 3/4 of an inch. Minus 0.75. And then I'll do the same thing here. I'll highlight this work plane and swipe up to repeat offset plane. I'll do again 0.75 and hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is slice all of these. I could just slice it right down the middle, but and in fact, let me just show how that works. So if I were to split body and just say, let me highlight the tool first. So I'll highlight, holding down here. Try that again. Holding down here, I'll choose that work plane, and then I'll do split body, and I'll just choose all of these bodies. So what I've got is all of these separate pieces. That would work. The only question is, how do I keep them together? Like I'd have to try and clamp it from the sides, and this isn't so easy to clamp because it's a cylinder. So you'd end up with all of these 8 pieces just kind of flopping around. So maybe a better way is to use the threaded rod that we have to keep these vertically together. And so I have a different technique for doing that. And here's how I do it. I've got my construction planes there. I will make these 2 offset sort of cuts. So I'm gonna, here's my work plane. I'll go to modify, split body, and the bodies that I'm gonna split are gonna be every other one. So if you had more of them, you just keep going every other one. And I'll hit OK. So those are split there. Now, these are maybe these are a little too far over. Like I said, it's weird because this is so tiny, but I'll make them 1/2 inch over instead. But this would work for yours as well. So I'll again choose this work plane. Too many things under there. There's the work plane, and I'll go to split body. And now choose the other ones. That's that one and that one. Okay, so now I've got this kind of layering effect. If I hide this one, you can see what's happening here, right? I've got like a big piece here, small piece there, big piece there, small piece there. So it's kind of like some brickwork. So the last thing I need to do is have the holes here so that these rods, threaded rods, can go all the way through. I'll turn on the top because I want the holes to go through the top too. And I'll just go to create sketch. I'll create the sketch right on the top, could create it on the bottom, doesn't matter. So that I can see what's going on underneath, I'll turn on hidden edges. Now I can see everything underneath. And what I'll do is I'll just create a circle right there. And I need this to be 0.25 inches because that's the size of the rod we have. Then what I'll do is just make a circular pattern. That's the thing that I want to pattern. This is the center point, and I want 4 of them. Hit OK, and stop sketch, and now I've got 4 holes on the top there. 4 circles. To make them into holes, I'll have to use press pull. So there's that face, that face and that face, and I will make them cut all the way through. That's it. At this point, what I've got is these 8 plus the top pieces. I'd put threaded rod through here and through all 4 of these, and put a washer and a nut on top, a washer and a nut on bottom. Everything is clamped together at that point and located so everything fits together seamlessly. Probably before I put it all together, I would seal the insides with wax, which we have, and then I would kind of clamp everything together and pour the cement in. Once it's dry, I can just take the bolts out and take all of these pieces off, and everything will come off. So that's basically the process. And if you have any questions, email me. But we have some time to think about this. I'm just trying to give you a head start so that as you're choosing your form and trying to make it using slices in a model, cardboard model for Monday, you'll have an idea of where we're heading eventually. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.